Hey guys, welcome back to the Betar Project. This episode we got Tim Speirs. Thank you for finally coming on. You brushed me a few times there.
My pleasure, my man. Good to be here.
How's lockdown in friggin' Melbourne going?
Oh man, it's okay. Look, it's a busier time than ever right now in the business, which is great. And my man, I have empathy for people in Melbourne right now. It's a crazy tough time. But my man, I'm sort of blessed that I've got the business to grow and clients to really serve who are really crushing it right now. So it's inspiring to see them grow their businesses, and my business is growing, dude. So I'm blessed that I have something to distract me, but it is a crazy time, my man.
What are the lockdown rules there? Is there curfews and that? I haven't really looked into it.
Dude, so Melbourne right now, we're allowed, I hope I don't stuff this up because I'm probably completely wrong. I don't follow it too much, but I think we're allowed like within 5 kilometers of our home to exercise 1 hour per day. So it's pretty crazy, dude. Like if I didn't have something to distract me, and this is one big thing around like what I do, dude. I'm like, if I hadn't done the mindset work and hadn't really got myself to a place where my routines, my rituals, my habits were on point, dude, I would be completely struggling right now.
Yeah.
I'll just be completely honest. Yeah. So I think, dude, like I can have empathy why people are really struggling right now. Not even just in Melbourne, but all over the world, dude. You know what I mean? Like restrictions and stuff like that are really affecting people. So I feel like, dude, is like now more than ever, it's just so important to be able to look after yourself and have an empowering set of routines, rituals, and stuff like that.
It's kind of like JLA, only being allowed out to exercise for 1 hour a day.
basically, my man. Yeah, basically.
Hopefully, the lockdowns are no more soon. Hopefully, is COVID dropping in Melbourne or?
Yeah, dude. As I said, I don't follow it too religiously because it does. Like, dude, I feel like if I follow it too religiously, dude, I just know that I get my energy's affected, and yeah. I'm like, for me to show up the best for my clients, for me, for the people who I hold dearly, I'm like, I don't really need to consume it. Someone else usually tells me. So, dude, the more I feel like I look at it, the more it plays on my energy and it really affects me. It's not that I'm naive about it and just like sweep it under the carpet, but I'm like, well, if I can't really do anything about it except stay in my home and wear a fucking mask everywhere I go, that's what I'll do. I'll just stay in home, wear a mask, do everything that I need to do, and everything else I feel will just take care of itself.
Yeah, the media likes to blow it out of proportion anyway.
Oh, they've got to do it. I mean, yeah, and at the same time, dude, it needed to happen. So there's not much we can do like to really fix that. I just have faith that it'll all go back to some quote unquote normality. And that's what's really getting me through that time. Yeah.
Mm. So let's dive into your story, man. Take me back to your upbringing. What was that like?
Of course, dude. So my man, I'm in Melbourne right now. I've lived here for around about 5 years now. I'm 28 years old. And dude, I grew up in a little country town around about 2 hours west of Melbourne, which is called Colac. Look, maybe most of your listeners probably won't know Colac, but for anyone who does, it's not my proudest claim. It's like a little small country town. Everyone knows everyone. I don't talk badly of it, dude, because it was a beautiful little area, and I still have friends and stuff there. But yeah, man, I grew up in a small country town. It's around about 10,000 people. I think it's up to about 15,000 now. Man, I grew up I was blessed to grow up in a loving, caring family. And I'm sure we'll get into, like, I guess, a bit more of my story as to how I got here, where I am now. But, I played a lot of football when I was younger. I can tell you that. AFL, so Aussie rules, not real football, I'm told. But, so I grew up and, like, dude, footy, family, and friends were just like my absolute game. When I was a lot younger, yeah.
What was school like for you? You were a good kid or not?
Dude, I was shocking. Dude, I actually had a funny conversation with my mum some time ago. And it was around, I remember my 4th grade teacher, shout out to her. She actually said to mum, because they wanted to keep me down, because I was just terrible at school, dude. Like, footy was my main focus. And I wanted to do nothing else but play footy. And my 4th grade teacher said, she's like, look, if Tim put as much energy and focus into his schoolwork as he did his football, he might become something one day. credit to her, I didn't really focus on school, and I've still become something. So fuck you. No, not really. But my man, so school was a write-off, dude. Honestly, I look back on it, I'm like, I was a terrible student.
Did you finish school?
I finished. Yeah, I finished just to like, so I guess to break it down, like I went into secondary school, got through primary school. They wanted to keep me down, but I just scraped by.
Yeah.
And then secondary school was the same story, dude. I really had no interest at all about school and what I was learning. I just wanted to play footy. I just wanted to play AFL. That was my only goal. And that was just what I completely focused on, both in primary school and secondary school.
You played a pretty high level of footy, didn't you?
I did, dude. So I played at a level which is like semi-professional, which is the level underneath the AFL, which is the VFL, so the Victorian Football League. So I played one season there. I only played, I think, 6 games in the end. I actually copped a knee injury, and I was like on the bottom half of that side. I certainly wasn't an elite VFL player, but it was, I guess, a part of my story that's really helped me get to where I am today, getting back on that list. Yeah.
And what was the journey like getting back to that list? Because you had some setbacks and you kind of went on the wrong tracks a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right, dude. You're completely right. So dude, to rewind, so like school, as I said, was just a complete write-off. Like I was just like, I look back on it, I'm like, I would have been so hard to teach. I was a moron. But really, dude, like I put all my focus on the football. This is like something that I really work on with my clients now. It's just something that I really drive home hard with the people who followed my stuff, which is like your environment's everything. Now, I looked at back on my school. Now, throughout secondary school, I started to really experiment with wrong things. It wasn't that I was hanging around the wrong people at the time. It was as I was hanging around people who were experimenting with different things. And I really started to make a few bad decisions. I turned 18. Well, actually, I turned 16, and then I found something called alcohol, which that was like a release for me, like outside of school. And I really held the identity of like, oh, I'm a party guy, blah, blah, blah. So I had a lot of energy into football, which meant I got pretty damn good at it. So I was on like a state level list in Victoria throughout secondary school, but then I actually made like a terrible decision in school. Started to make worse decisions and actually got kicked off the state level team. And then from there, dude, like I was a 16-year-old kid. I was playing like senior football with my local team, which was like, actually 15 when I played my first game, but it was like, I was like I don't want to stroke an ego, but I was good. I was good at what I did. I was young. I was getting developed. I had good mentors in the football club, but I got kicked off the team. Okay. So that really felt like, I look back on it, I'm like, I felt like that was the end for me. I'm like, all I focused on is football up until this point, and now it's just been fucking ripped away from me. And now I'm just like, well, now what? So really, dude, I started to experiment with worse things than alcohol, and I started to like drugs, alcohol of every weekend. Then I really stopped playing football, had a few toxic relationships, like intimate relationships. I was just as bad as what they were, so I can't place blame. But really, dude, that was like then there was something that really happened in my life, dude. It was like a standout thing when there was a close family friend who lost his life, who was in the same sort of scene as I was, drugs, alcohol. And dude, it was that point where I was like, fuck, life's short. Like this has just happened to a friend who I really grew up with, or family friends. And I look back on it, dude, and I'm like, fuck, that was the thing that made me realize. I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? I was about 20. I was literally, dude, like 20, 22, 23 at the time. Okay. I was 22 or 23 at the time. And I thought, what am I actually fucking doing with my life? Now, people around me were saying, dude, like you can't keep doing what you're doing. You're going to hurt someone. You're going to hurt yourself, et cetera, et cetera. My parents like almost tore my family apart. I look back on it, man. I'm like, fuck, like I was in a bad way. I was in a tremendously dark place. I was very, very depressed. Now I look at that and I'm like, well, my friend and family friend lost his life. And that was the thing, dude, that made me realize I'm like, fuck, I need to pull my head in. So then, dude, from that place, I sort of got back into, school was basically over at that point. So as I said, I was like 20, 22, 23. So I was just working a dead end job. And then, dude, like from there, I got back into health and fitness. because really health and fitness was the thing that I loved when I was like, 13 to 16, because I was playing like high level football was always a thing. As you would know, it's always a thing that I was really good at. I enjoyed it, but I went away from it when I was drinking and taking drugs of a weekend. So then, dude, like I found the gym again. I started working out, and then I started to get fit, healthy. I started to play better football. I started playing more again. I started to focus, started to play really good in my local league. And then from there, to actually just by chance, dude, got a call, got a message from a VFL club. It was actually through a friend as well. Like a friend got invited there as well. I think I was just coming along for the ride. So I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'll come. But dude, actually ended up getting a contract there. Now, dude, there's a big standout thing in that story where I'm like, that really like helps me, like really drives me today. And it was like, fuck, I made one decision and said, look, I'm going to get my life on track. I'm going to get back in the gym and I'm going to make a decision that I'm going to play the best football that I can. Because at the end of the day, I was still young. I was like 22, 23. I'm like, fuck, there's still so much of my, career that I could go. I'm like, how far could I take it? So I went from playing no football, getting dropped from my local side into the reserves team, getting kicked off the state level team, to taking control of my health and fitness and getting back onto a semi-professional list. The learning that it gave me, dude, was like, fuck, I've made one decision and I've started to focus down on one thing. And it made me realize, I'm like, well, if I can focus down on my health and fitness and get this far, I wonder what would happen if I focus down on my mindset, my education. Yeah. That's when I started reading books. Actually, geez, dude, I was reading like a book a week. I was obsessed with learning and growing and like thinking like what really holds people back, what moves people forward. So I mean, that's really the journey as to how I got back onto the the semi-professional list. Well, not got back onto, but got onto one. And as I said, dude, the fact of the matter is I didn't play that many games, but it was the principle behind it that it taught me. If you focus on something and you make a decision that, fuck, I'm going to make it happen no matter what, like it'll happen.
Yeah. It would have been an awesome feeling considering what you've gone through to finally make it back to that position.
Dude, totally. So funny story. It's actually a pretty funny story. So signed the contract and then actually didn't get a game for like the first, it was about 5 or 6 weeks. Cause that was even playing on my mind. I'm like, fuck, like, am I really worthy to be on this list? Am I going to get a game? Then dude finally got a game. It was actually a Friday night game here in Victoria. And I got a corky within the first 10 minutes and then couldn't play any more of the game. So then it was that, dude. And then I got dropped the next week. But then it was just these little things, dude, where I'm like, fuck, I could have given up so many times. You know what I mean? Like the whole preseason I did, then finally got a contract and then didn't play a game and just stuck at it, playing at my – so if I didn't get a game at the VFL club, like the semi-professional one, I would just play at my local league.
Yep.
Probably similar to what some of the football stuff does up your way. It's like there's the next level. So, even that, dude, I'm like, I look back on it, I'm proud that I sort of just stuck at it. Then after that, I got copped a ridiculous corky and then got dropped that following week, which was sucked at the time and it really did suck. But then got back on and strung like 5 games together or something like that. So yeah, man, it was an epic feeling running out that first game, dude. It was actually pretty emotional. Yeah.
What happened the next season? Did you not get re-signed or?
It's a funny story. So the team that I was playing with actually didn't play in that league anymore. So they actually got discarded from that league. Yeah. Just through like financial things. And to be honest, man, like we weren't like a super team. So we were getting flogged most weeks anyway. So I was like, it was very disappointing because I'm like, oh, like one more year would have been epic because my body was conditioned, my mind was conditioned, and I was like really knew I could play that level because I played 5 okay games. But now, dude, I still play. Obviously, I'm not playing now because COVID fucking ruined it for everyone. But I still play. So I still play at the same place that I was playing at with the VFL team, but just a team in a different lower league. Yeah.
How come you didn't decide to go to another VFL team?
It's a good question, man. So a big part of me wanted to, and it was actually one of my goals. Okay, it was one of my goals when I finished in that VFL team. I'm like, okay, well, my next goal is to get back onto a different one. Okay. But dude, that actually, it didn't happen. So I played a year at this other club that got into contact with me after that team got kicked out of the league. Dude, I made a lot of super, super friends. Lifelong friends are still. Even the coach is actually one of my best mates now. He actually come to my event that I ran here in Melbourne, and he's just an epic guy. So I'm like, it started with me wanting to get back on a VFL club, and then playing at this other club. It really, like, I had other things going on at this stage. Part of the story that's probably worth noting here is, like, throughout the VFL, I was actually just doing that full time. I was getting paid pretty well. I was working a few days here and there, just with a family, like a friend's business.
Yep.
So I was like, dude, I had so much time on my hands just to train, to read. Obviously, I was reading a book a week, and to really think about what I wanted to fucking do with my life. So, because I'm like, well, footy's going to end soon, because really I'm playing VFL. Even if I play VFL the next 2 years, I'm like, I don't want to play football. Well, I can't play until I'm fucking, 60 years old. So it's actually a funny distinction. I still remember having a conversation, dude, with a strength and conditioning coach at that club who said, hey, dude, like, you should actually look into doing personal training.
Yeah.
And that was when I first started my business, dude, because I thought, I'm like, yeah, well, health and fitness basically saved my life. So I'm like, if I could give that gift to someone else, if they're going through, like, a tremendously dark time, if I could help someone find the light, it would mean the world to me. Even if it was just one person, dude. I'm like, if I could find one person who was really struggling and really introduce them to something new that changes their life, I'm like, I'd be very fulfilled. So it was that stage where I started my business, and then I started to find fulfillment in that rather than just football. So getting back on a list was, to answer the question, it was a goal of mine, but it got less intense of a goal once I started my business. And plus, dude, I just, like, truth is that I didn't get invited to another VFL club anyway. So if they invited me, would I have done it? I would have had a crack. But dude, it was probably the best thing that never happened to me.
So you started personal training business after that, didn't you?
I did, dude. So I started the PT business straight after I finished in the VFL. I actually moved down here to Melbourne after that. Started working in a suburb here in Melbourne, Carlton, in a little family-owned gym, which was epic. Sort of learnt my craft there. I obviously had a lot of health and fitness background playing. Like, as you noted, it's like playing football for, since I was, since I can remember. I can't even remember not playing football. I was even asked Dad the other day, I'm like, how many years have I played for? And he's like, dude, like, you're playing Auskick when you're like 5-6 years old. Like, you've been like, no, I look back at it, I've been playing footy for like 23 years. So I look at that and I'm like, I had a lot of skill in developing someone's body and mind. So the business took off quite quickly, even though I didn't have much experience in the PT industry. It did take off quite quickly, and I ran that business for around about 18 months.
And then what happened after that? You just stopped it, or?
So, dude, I was, and this is sort of leads me to where I am now. So I ran that for about 18 months, and I actually, by chance, met someone who influenced me to take the business online. So what I learned, dude, in the industry, in the PT industry, and if you've got any PTs who listen to this, I'm sure they can resonate, is that time's money. And if you're a PT, fuck, man, I was working, 5 a.m. till 12 p.m. till lunchtime, then might have 2-3 hours break. I'd train, I'd do some stuff, and then work till 3 p.m. until, 7:30, 8 p.m. So I looked at that, dude, and I'm like, fuck, is this sustainable? Now I'm making good money and I'm meeting a lot of people, but I'm like, is it really sustainable? How can I really leverage my time? So I took that business online and, ran it quite successfully. I found a mentor who taught me to really take it online, which was great. So I ran that for 18 months, then took it online. Was it hard at the start, like running it online? Completely. Like, I've learned a lot now. That's why I sort of coach people to take businesses online and to do that sort of stuff now, because I'm like, fuck, I learned a lot, dude, over that period. So yeah, man, I ran that for 18 months and then ran the online business. But, one thing that really stands out, dude, probably something that I'll answer right now, is like, what's led me to here is that I was fascinated by how someone could come into the gym and I could give them the exact same workout plan, meal plan, congruent with their goals, body type, et cetera, and one person would absolutely crush it and the other person would be more stressed. Now, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, fuck, what am I doing wrong? Like, it's frustrating for me because I'm like, this person's like, he's got the same tools, the same set of skills that I'm teaching them, one person absolutely crushes it, the other one gets more stressed and just like it's a complete mess.
Yeah.
So I was fascinated by that, dude. I'm like, what's the difference between someone who does that and that? And I'm like, well, it's the inner work. It's the mindset behind, do I really deserve to be this way? Do I deserve to be healthy and fit? Like, is this who I am? I'm an introvert. Or I'm just like all of this stuff where these beliefs come up of like what really holds someone back. And that's really what's like, led me to here, dude, is I really help people build that certainty from the inside out so they can, really execute on the thing they love. Right now I'm helping, a lot of coaches, network marketers, athletes and stuff like that, dude, like build stuff that they're super passionate to make the impact and income that they really want. So it's that distinction, dude. And that, dude, I can tell you now, that's what I wish I knew when I first started my business. Because fuck, man, I paid 20 grand for a company to teach me how to market and how to sell. Dude, I could teach my sausage dog how to market and how to sell. But what I can't do is teach him how to be so certain and so sold on what he does and work through the limiting beliefs that he has that are actually holding him back.
Yeah.
So, dude, that's why I'm so passionate about what I do now. And that's really what's led me to here. So it's a super exciting thing.
Yeah. Mindset is so powerful, man.
It's everything. Yeah.
So how do you deal with the stress? How do you manage stress?
How do I?
Obviously, everyone gets stressed.
Yeah, dude. And I think, it's going to be valuable for the people listening right now. How do I manage stress? Dude, you and me have one thing in common that we love Gary V.
Yeah.
Now, Gary, dude, he's all about perspective. Okay. So when I'm stressed, dude, I always think about like, what perspective am I taking here? Like, let's use me as an example right now, dude. Like, I'm saying, dude, like there was a day or two when I was stressed, when COVID come back again, stage 4, we're allowed, fucking 5 kilometers away from our home with the mask on, like I was stressed. But what I really think about, dude, is like, it could be worse for me right now. Like I'm blessed that I have like, awesome clients who are crushing. I have a business that I can grow. I have a loving, caring family who I talk to. I'm like, it could be worse for me. Now, I'm not saying if you're out there that you shouldn't be stressed. This is one big thing. It's like a lot of people are stressed right now and they think like, oh, I shouldn't be stressed. Like, why am I stressed? To people, especially people right now in like the coaching or the influence market, like the marketers out there, I think like, oh, I shouldn't be stressed. Well, the reality is, dude, that how I deal with stress, I have perspective and think about, well, it could be worse, but how I really deal with it, dude, is I'm so disciplined around my routines and my rituals. Meaning that, dude, sometimes I do wake up and I don't feel like getting out of bed. Yeah. Sometimes I do wake up and I'm just like, fuck, here we go again. But there's one thing that really pulls me out, and that's my morning routine that I do every single day. I exercise, I meditate, I visualize. Sometimes I journal. I can't say I do that every day, but I'm always very, very focused on what's most important to me. Okay, I'm very clear on my goals. I'm very clear on what my vision is. And that, dude, just really keeps me, if I ever feel stressed, dude, I just deal with it straight away. I don't suppress it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm feeling stressed right now. Let's just fucking tackle this head on. Now, as I said, dude, before I jumped on this podcast, I went for a good like 8K run. Big part of me, dude, is like, I feel like when I look after myself, I'm less stressed.
Yeah.
Meaning if I'm exercising, like I went for a big walk this morning, got some fresh air. It was a beautiful morning down here in Melbourne, which is rare. So I went for a walk, and then this afternoon went for a run. So I feel like, dude, like one big distinction, this is what I teach my clients as well. It's like, it's almost like prehab for stress. It's like I teach people to do the inner work, the meditations, the visualizations, so that stress doesn't pop up as much. But when it does, they also have the tools and the skills necessary to get through that. Because I think a big part of stress is, dude, if you take care of yourself at a deep level, meaning health, you eat the right foods, you look after yourself, you train, you are doing some stuff to really stimulate your mind. You're reading good content. You're reading books. You're talking to people. You're listening to podcasts. Okay. That to me is like prehabilitation for stress. Okay. So how do I deal with it, dude? I exercise a lot. I have exercises that I do, like breathing exercises and stuff like that. But most of all, dude, I just take huge perspective and think, fuck, like I've got it good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like so many people let their emotions take control of their body.
I agree, dude. I agree. And sometimes it's not that person's fault, dude. Like you got to understand, like this is the big thing that I really teach is like a lot of our strong held beliefs around who we are, around like, fuck, like, it's like, you know, someone says that, oh, I'm not a good public speaker, or I'm not an outgoing person, or I hate social situations. You know, what's funny about me, dude, is like, I used to be petrified of speaking. Now I've built a business around it. I coach people. I'm on the phone 5, 6, 7 hours a day. I do podcasts. I do live events in front of, you know, 20, 30 people. Now, if I sat there and I'm like, you know, I just held on to the belief that I'm a bad public speaker, then I wouldn't have been able to create this. And it's the same, dude, when people are, you know, it's enhanced right now because people are locked inside, let's be honest, especially here in Melbourne. So stress is just a natural thing, but it's like, it's such a thing that you can work through, these beliefs that you have around, you know, who you believe you are. You can really work through them to build yourself into whoever you want. And I think that's one big thing. It's like people do allow themselves to almost talk themselves into stress, themselves into overwhelm, and they let their mind take control. That's where a big part of doing the inner work, you know, getting out of your own head, doing meditations, going for long walks, going for long runs is just super, super important.
Yeah, like that's why I chose to do a podcast, because 6 to 12 months ago, I wouldn't be talking to you. I barely talk to people. I get mad anxiety because I'm an introvert. So I decided to do a podcast to like show what's actually possible when you jump out of your comfort zone, and hopefully inspire people like myself, introverts, that you can do shit.
I love that, dude. Such a powerful thing. You should be proud too, because like, and that's the thing. It's like most people would look at you and they're like, oh my God, like I wish I was like that. You know, I wish I had the outgoing attitude to do that. Someone asked me the other day, dude, like I had a client come on actually where she was like, she's absolutely fucking petrified of doing video. Yeah. She actually shakes. Like she's like, she can't do it. Now I'm working her through that. I'm helping her like build the certainty so she can really do that through different processes. But I said to her, hey, go back and watch one of my first videos. Now she did it and she's like, oh my God, like you're a completely different person. It's like, dude, like I haven't always been like this. I'm sure the first episode you ever did, dude, is completely different to this fucking one, which shocking. Is 28. Shocking. Dude, I look at my videos and I'm like, what am I actually saying? I don't even understand. But dude, you know what's funny? I look at that and I'm like, everyone's got to start somewhere. And this is why I think like social media is such it's a very powerful tool, but it can also be so detrimental. It's easy for us to look at someone and it's like the tip of the iceberg where it's like, fuck, like he looks like he's crushing. He's been doing a podcast. He's done 28 sessions. He's doing an epic job. He loves talking. But underneath the water is all of this fucking hard work that you've had to do to get yourself to this point. Now, people see the end result and they're like, oh, I'll never be able to be that person because I'm not outgoing or I don't like talking. But it's like, well, everyone starts somewhere. My first video, dude, shocking. Jesus Christ. I'm like, my God, I was horrendous. All right. So it's funny to think about. It's like, you know, when people look at someone and they put them on a pedestal and they're like, oh, they're so much better than me, or I'm undeserving of that because I can't do that. When really it's like, well, that person was in your position one day as well. But the difference is that they just had the balls to say, hey, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, dude. I'm like, I feel like right now, like social media is such this like facade of like people living a dream life where it's like you don't see the back end work of what's actually got them to that place. That's why I'm real about shit, dude. That's why I'm like, hey, I used to struggle. I used to be in a very dark place. That's why I'm happy sharing like I was in a bad way, because I feel like someone hears that, it's like, well, this has happened in, you know, reasonably and you know, relatively short period of time, like 5-6 years that I've been running the business and I'm running now. I'm like, things can change very, very quickly.
Yeah. Why do you think so many people jump on social media and just compare themselves to others?
Oh dude, it's a tricky topic. I mean, dude, you go like, the thing about social media is like, we have, you know, this shot of dopamine, which goes through our system when we see something. We're like a drug addict, dude. When we see, when we look at our phone or we see a notification go off, we actually get a rush, a feel-good emotion when we look at that. Now, why, to answer your question, I'm like, why I think so many people compare themselves to someone is because it's just natural for us to hold someone on a pedestal to think they're so much better than us and we'll never be able to do what they have done, when well, this is my big belief, dude. I believe you can be whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. If you're the size of me, I'm like 5'7". I'm probably not going to play NBA. Let's just be real. All right. I'm probably not. Okay. Plus, I'm shocking at basketball. So within boundaries, dude, you can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
Now, I think that, dude, like why so many people compare themselves to others is because they're comparing themselves on a scale. Like if I'm at day 1, I shouldn't compare myself to someone who's at year 10. You know what I mean? Like, why would I compare myself to someone who's on a completely different level to me, a different path to me? I think the only person you should really compare yourself to, and it's a cliche saying, but it's like the person who you were yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like, dude, like if I could give your listeners advice on, if they do compare themselves to others, it's like, that's what you should be doing. You should be comparing yourself to who you are, not someone who has portrayed themselves on social media this way, because I don't give a shit who you are on social media. Like you'll see someone's highlight reel, but deep down, just realize that they're going through shit too. They have bad days as well. They feel stressed sometimes. They probably look at someone and think, oh my God, like I wish I was them. So it's this constant thing, dude, of like, I'll always like help and influence people to stay in their lane and realize that like, if you just show up consistently with what you love and what you do, you'll get there. You'll win.
Yeah.
Period.
I feel like sometimes I compare myself to others, but it's in a way that, so I see other podcasters and I see they're doing so well and it kind of puts fire in my belly to get to that level.
I love that, dude. I love that. And that's the thing. It can go one of two ways. It can either be, look, I'm going to be inspired by this person, or I'm going to compare myself and feel like a piece of shit. This is the thing, dude. And this is a big part of, dude, I feel like as well that it's easier. And this is a funny distinction. It's like, it's easier for us to sit here and compare ourselves to someone and come up with all the reasons why they've been able to be successful. Oh, they must have had it handed to them. They must have been in a wealthy family. They got lucky.
Oh, I hate that word, fucking lucky, man.
Dude, the hardest thing for someone to fucking own up to is they got there because they worked their face off to get there. And it's one thing that humans don't really like to do is say, oh, well, I'm in control of this. But yeah, dude, it's like a natural thing to want to compare yourself to someone, but it is, as you said, you go one of two ways. I see someone successful, dude, and I'm like, I'm fucking pumped for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely pumped. No matter what they're doing. If you want to do a podcast, I hope you crush it. If you want to write a book on how to ride horses, I hope it's a #1 bestseller. I couldn't care what it is that you're doing. If you're happy and successful, I'm like, you've won. You've absolutely won. And I feel like it's so relevant to what's going on right now. It's like COVID, dude, and coronavirus. It's like people go one of two ways. It's like either you can run, the metaphor that I've been using with clients who, my clients have been growing ridiculously through this time of adversity, which is super, I'm super pumped about. The metaphor that I use is like most people, there's a fire, they run away from it. But the more that you can say, hey, I'm the fucking fire brigade, I'm here, let's control this, let's make something happen. Those people who run into the flames are the people who win.
Yeah.
Bottom line. Those people who pull inspiration from people who are crushing it win. It's like, dude, one of my favorite people on the earth right now, apart from Gary Vee, is Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with him, yeah, there's a lot of ego involved early on, definitely, and like love him or hate him. Dude, he's like, look, some people will take inspiration from this. This is when he won the double champ. Okay. He said, dude, he's like, look, some people take inspiration from this and others shell up. They shell up and they shy away and they blame and they play victim and say, oh, well, he's this, he's that. He's like, the people who shy away from it, they'll lose and they'll be forever in that place. But for the people who pull inspiration from it, they too will experience this one day.
How important is environment and surrounding yourself with people that, bring you up and support you as well?
Yeah, it's an interesting question that you bring up now, because I've actually been talking to one of my best friends, Johnny, who's here in the city. We chat every single day, and he's like one of my main really like inner circle. Really, dude, I'll be honest, I've got probably 3 or 4 really close friends.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, same.
Now that's by choice and by by design that I've really done that, because dude, environment's everything. I look back on, dude, my life and I'm like, when I was in a bad way, my environment was in a bad way. When I was in football and playing good football, and that was all we focused on, I was surrounded by people who were playing good football and that's all they focused on. Okay. Now I look at my life now and I'm like, environment is the thing that really keeps me in line and in check. Okay. Because sometimes, dude, it's easy to let ourselves down and think, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow or I'll do it next year. But if your environment, dude, is already doing what you want to do and they are hammering you and saying, hey, step up, raise your standards, it's not good enough. That's the shit I want. I want people around me who are like, hey, dude, this is pathetic. What's going on? Talk to me. Not only that, but I want people around me who understand and have empathy. And we're all like, dude, this is the big thing. I'm like, if you could find 5 people who are already doing what you want to do and you start almost modeling them, and you'll even do it subconsciously. It's like you hang around someone long enough, you'll start talking like them. It's like my clients. My clients work with me for up to 6 months. By the end of the 6 months, they're all like, they're talking the same as I do. They're saying the same things. They're saying epic, savage. They swear a lot. So I look at that dude and I'm like, even subconsciously, your environment influences you. Yeah. So, dude, I can say this right now, like environment is just like absolutely paramount to your success.
Yeah, like recently I've just started hanging out with people who like on the entrepreneurial space and want to be more than average, you know, they want to succeed in life. And it's really helped me as well. Like there's one guy, he's like crazy about his health and fitness like you were, and he's pushing his body to the boundaries, and it's like, it's made me want to do that as well. So I've really focused on my health and fitness over these last few weeks. So it's awesome.
Yep. It's epic, dude. I completely believe the same. You know, I've got a really good mentor of mine, dude, who's just absolutely crushing it in business and, you know, doing numbers that I couldn't even comprehend, you know, a few years ago. Now, I talk to him every Friday and he drives me hard around my business and the numbers that I hit and the impact that I have. And just having him around me and talking about what's actually possible has made me raise my standards to now my business is doing like at a place where I couldn't comprehend. Now I'm like, would that have happened if I was hanging around people who weren't as successful? Probably not. I understand and have an awareness around, dude, that if you hang around people who are 3 steps ahead of you, naturally you're going to be pulled up to that step.
Yeah.
But if you hang around people who are 5 steps below you, meaning, and hypothetically, like you don't want to judge anyone and say, hey, you're down here, I'm up there. I'm not saying that because everyone's on their own path. But if you do hang around people who don't take action, they don't look after their health and fitness, they fuck around on weekends, fair chance is you'll do that same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your business is just coaching people on mindset, is it?
Yeah. So man, I practice as a peak performance mindset coach. Right now, dude, I'm really helping people, coaches, network marketers, course creators, you know, anyone. It's like, you know, anyone who wants to take what they've got, their skill set and their knowledge into an online platform and really leverage it all over the world. I'm helping people build the certainty from the inside out to really take that online. And dude, I know we were talking before this podcast that I strongly believe that right now, with everything going on, there's no better time to have something, a platform online that you can leverage across the world.
Yeah. How many clients do you have now?
Right now, dude, so I've got 13 one-on-one clients who I work with every single week, and then I've got online programs where there's about 12 people in the latest intake. And then also I do events all over Melbourne. Right now they're online. So I do online events. The next one's in November, which I'm pumped about. There's usually, I predict there'll probably be like 30 at the next one. There was 20 at the last one. So 13 one-on-one clients, dude, who I work with every single week, help them grow a business, help them really, make the money that they deserve off what they're doing. It's like one of my clients, he runs an online health and fitness business. He come to me and he's like, look, dude, similar to what we're talking about, dude, he was very introverted and he didn't have the certainty to, sell and to really charge what he's worth. Now, he comes to me and he was doing okay. He was doing he was doing roughly about $5,000 a month in his business. He comes on with me, dude, and I help him really build the certainty, change a few things. And, he banked $20,800 in 4 weeks.
Sure, that's awesome.
So I'm like, this is why I'm like, dude, there's no better time. If you're good at what you do and you have the self-belief to back it up and the certainty to back it up and you take action like a savage, there's no reason why you can't do, I say, 10K a month. That's like my baseline for clients who come on.
So what's the feeling like helping clients reach their goals?
Oh, dude, it's the most rewarding thing ever. Yeah, honestly, dude, like I can't even compare it to anything because I'm like, fuck, it's just like such a feeling that I get off on it. I'm just like obsessed with seeing people come in and say, hey, I'm stuck, I'm frustrated, I'm not doing as well as I want, and then just change a few things and see them get past what they actually thought possible. So the client I was talking about, he wanted to do $10,000 a month. This is the importance of environment. I am his environment. I'm his mentor. I help him see what's possible. Pardon me. I said, okay, you wanted to do 10. How do you feel about that? And he's like, oh, look, I think it's probably doable. And I said, okay, let's shoot for 20. And he sat down. He's like, no, dude, like I've never seen that sort of money in a month. And I'm like, well, let's try it anyway. Now he hits in the first month that we work together, keep in mind, he's got another 5 months with me. He does $20,800. Now, would that have been possible if he didn't have an environment where he said, dude, I've seen it over and over again. You could do 20. Now, I think he could do more than that. Now, he's even thinking, like, and this is the thing with his standards now with his environment, he thinks 20 is just standard now. And he's like, well, how do we get to 30? So this is, I feel like, dude, to answer your question, like I'm obsessed with getting people a result and get them to their goal. I'm obsessed.
What's the biggest result a client's got from working with you?
That one was a high achievement. Yeah, that one was a high achievement. Coming to me stuck, frustrated, doing inconsistent months of like 5,000 to 6,000, and then in the first 2 weeks, dude, he banked over $10,000, which was his monthly goal. And then that following 2 weeks, he banked another 10. So that, man, like that was, and I'm not saying it's all about money. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not like materialistic and being like, oh, you have to make a lot of money. But when someone's goal is that they want to do 10 and I get them to 20, I'm like, that was a very rewarding experience. Seeing the happiness that it brought him and seeing like the fulfillment that it brought him and even just like relieved a lot of stress. I was just like, that was a tremendous result that I seen from a client. That was probably the most recent one as well. That one was like last week. But even, dude, like it's very rewarding to see, like I've got a massage therapist right now, she's an awesome lady. We've been working together for like 4 months, and she's realized, dude, she's like, well, I run this business now, but COVID really, it fucked her, to be honest. Like she couldn't do massage for like, a lot of time. So naturally, if she couldn't do massage, she wasn't making money. So she made the decision. She reached out to me and she's like, hey, help me take what I've got now, this skill set online. So we're really putting some stuff together. I've actually got her session tomorrow night, 5 p.m. So she is currently filming like the program to put her stuff online so that she can leverage it not only to her clients that she's got, but all over the world. Yeah. So that's a super exciting one that I feel there's going to be a big testimonial around that one as well.
Have you worked with any high profile people?
No, my man. I haven't worked with many high profile people. There was one guy who I really helped a lot of stuff who played in the AFL. He played for Carlton. But I mean, I'd never really worked with him on a one-to-one basis. We sort of caught up for coffee a few times, and I helped mentor him a few things, give him a book to really read, and he's crushing it this year, dude. Carlton are going okay. And he's playing really well. He's played every game bar one. So that was like a high profile guy that I sort of helped, but didn't work with directly. But I guess, man, it's a part of my vision is to really tap into working with people in the AFL, elite athletes and stuff like that in any field, really, because I feel like, dude, if I knew what I knew now around mindset, around creating like an empowering set of habits, routines, rituals, but also breaking through what's holding a lot of people back around like, can I really be successful? Do I deserve to be on this list? Am I as good as these people? Like if you can build yourself into an absolute animal and just like have the self-belief, I feel like, dude, if I knew what I knew now, I don't know where I'd be, but I don't regret anything because I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
So how big are you looking to grow this company?
Huge, dude.
Huge, yeah.
My big vision is, dude, like I'm very blessed right now that it's really going really well. And as I said, it's going to a place that I couldn't even comprehend, 6 months ago even, dude. But dude, my big vision is like, I don't really want to build like a massive team and have like a big office. Dude, really, I just want to be making, the money that allows me to really travel all over the world and do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want, any day, really. That's like my vision. for myself personally, but also I want to obviously care for my family and really give them everything that they deserve because they looked after me when I was in a shocking place.
Yeah.
And dude, like my big vision is to travel, impact people all over the world. I love talking, so my big vision is to do TEDx talks. I want to do a podcast with Gary Vee one day. All right,
That'd be awesome.
But dude, I'd love to do that sort of stuff with like high profile people, talk. A big part of my vision is I'm actually currently writing a book, which is super exciting. Through lockdown, I've sort of introduced myself into, learning how to write, etc. So one of my big goals and big ambitions is to have a New York Times bestseller. So yeah, man, part of the vision is to me to really just build this, what I've got now, into, something tremendously impactful.
What's that book going to be about? You got a title for it yet?
I haven't done, dude. I haven't got a title for it yet. But my man, it's going to be about everything that I wish I knew before I really started business or any really big ambition. It's going to be all about, things that I wish I had to work through before I invested a significant amount of money into, that 20 grand. I wish I knew this before that. Before my football career, I wish I knew all this mindset stuff. So really it's going to be like 7-8 chapters on everything around the mind and what I really wish I knew before I started anything of significance.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would help so many people.
So what's it mean to master peak performance?
It's a good question, dude. What does it mean to master peak performance? I feel like mastering peak performance means just showing up at 150,000% that you can every day. David Goggins has a good metaphor for it, I believe, where he's like, if we hypothetically like a wet rag and we wring it out like every day, I think peak performance is showing up every single day that rag's just completely wrung dry.
Yeah.
I feel like, dude, that everyone right now, everyone listening to this podcast, everyone, and I say everyone, it can be a generalization, but I feel like everyone, dude, has like this thing inside them that they want to do. It's like you when you started your podcast, dude.
Yeah.
You knew you had this vision, you had this idea, and look at you now. It's like it's building into this epic thing. It's the same as me. I had a vision, dude, that I could fucking help a lot of people. Didn't know what it was going to do, but I had an idea. And I think mastering peak performance is just executing on those ideas the best of your ability. Every single day, just getting up, grateful, humble, and going, I'm going at it the hardest that I can. If I get one shot at this, I'm going to go as hard as I can. I think that's what mastering peak performance means, dude, to be honest. Yeah.
So what makes you different? I was talking to Kai about this, and he said he spoke to other coaches and they kind of made him feel pressured into paying them and that, like after a few chats. So what makes you different?
Dude, that's a great question. Here's my secret on how to grow a business. Look, dude, what separates me is I'm just down to the bone authentic. I really couldn't give a shit if you pay me or not. I will help you to some degree that I can. Now, it's like Kai, dude, like, he probably told you, he's like, I was on the phone with Kai like 2 or 3 sessions, and he actually asked me, he's like, dude, like, do you have anything I can buy? I'm like, hey, totally. But dude, like this is my big thing right now. I'm like, so many people out there are trying to they're trying to take shit from people. Now, not even aggressively, but like, here, buy this, buy that. I want to be the person who goes the other way and just gives that much value and helps people on any level that I can. I think that's what separates me. Dude, probably what separates me and what makes me a very good coach is I'm straight down the line.
Yeah.
Even my clients will say, dude, they're like, one of my clients who did the big month, he's like, I love how we're playing the long game, but playing like a long legacy game, but I'm absolutely driving them every day. Like hammering them, dude, like almost harassing them. I'm keeping that accountable. So I think this is what separates me, dude, is like, I'm so authentic online that I don't hide anything. It's like this podcast, dude. Imagine if I jumped on and I'm like, oh yeah, like I had a good upbringing, it was pretty easy, like nothing really significant to talk about. I'm like, lay it all out. Be authentic. Be yourself. Dude, I'm outrageous. If you watch my videos, I'm like slapping the desk. I even watched one the other day and I'm like, I'm actually pretty aggressive. You know what I mean? I'm like spitting all over my screen. I'm like, fucking hell, I've got to calm down. But I'm like, I can't hold it back, because if my intention is to help people all over the world, like I want to be as authentic as possible. Is everyone going to agree with it? Probably not. But I don't really care. This is the thing, dude. I think this is what separates me is I'm so authentic and I'm certain around what I do, I'm so sold on what I do, dude. I know I could get someone a result when they come on with me. Then I hold them accountable. And I think that's the thing that sort of really makes me different.
Do you follow like Gary Vee's theory of jab, jab, right hook?
Yeah, I usually have the book. The book might be on my bedside table. Totally, I do. Yeah, totally, totally, I do. I think it's the best way and the most authentic way to grow a business. I mean, dude, this is the thing. I bring clients on and I could make them a lot of money very quick. Me, dude, I could make money very quick, but I'm not about making money quick. I'm playing the long game. So in 40, 50 years, I'm still here giving value when everyone else played the short game and they've burnt the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of books behind you. I heard there was one book that kind of changed everything. What was that?
So dude, what one did you hear? Can you remember?
I don't remember the name of it, but
okay. There's been many books that I would that I could like recommend, but yeah, there's a funny story about one book that I guess it's worth noting. It was like the book that I found. I remember like the story that I told before, where I took control of my health and fitness, and then I started reading books. Now, I did what most fucking 23-year-old dudes would do, and I jumped on this thing, the phone, and I'm like, Google good mindset books. So I did that, and the first one that popped up, dude, was called The Magic of Thinking Big by Robert Schwartz. That was a book that actually just took me from a place of, I'm stuck here, I can't really do anything, to like more of a growth mindset, a place of, fuck it, you got to start thinking bigger. You got to start dreaming. You got to start visualizing. You got to start thinking, I'm bigger than what I am right now. So that was one thing that was one book. I could go through, I'll give you my top 5. How's that?
Yeah, sweet.
The Obstacle Is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Okay, one of my favorite writers. Okay, now I'm not sponsored, or I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that. I've got no correlation with these books. They're just the ones that have impacted me. So The Obstacle Is the Way, number 1. Number 2 is from Ryan Holiday as well, and it's called The Ego Is the Enemy.
Yeah.
Okay, so those 2 books. And then I would probably be reading, I don't want to go too sciencey on you, but I would probably go books by Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Very profound books, and like not fluff books of like, rah, motivational bullshit. It's like, what actually holds someone back? How can I do work to move forward? How can I let go of stress? How can I let go of trauma? Those are the books that I sort of enjoy reading. Books by Joe Dispenza really, really cover them. So that would be top 4, would be Obstacle Is the Way, The Ego Is the Enemy, Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza, and then Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Joe Dispenza. And then, if I had to pick one, geez, I put myself under pressure. It would probably, I'd have to throw one in from our man Gary. Yeah. Have to. Probably, like, Crushing It was one of the first books that I read around, it's probably a bit outdated now because there's so many different things that have happened. But one of his latest ones is like Crushing It, which is I read that one not long ago, and it's still very relevant. So yeah. I feel like those books would be a good start for someone.
Have you read Atomic Habits by James Clear?
I have. Yeah. I have. That
was a really good book. I enjoyed that one.
Very good book. One other one. If you like that one, dude, another one that I'd be reading is the one behind me here. So Good They Can't Ignore You. Yeah. The podcasters will be like, "What the fuck's he on about?" This one behind me. Oh yeah, I can see that. But dude, so Good They Can't Ignore Me by Cal Newport. It's a really good one. And then another book by Cal Newport, which is called Deep Work, which is another epic one. Sweet.
I've got some reading to do now.
Yeah, I can send you through my top 10, dude. Maybe maybe we can link my top 10 in the show notes.
Yeah, we will for sure. Okay. So you mentioned you do meditation before. What's the trick to it? I've tried it a few times and my mind just keeps fucking ticking.
Oh, dude, I have to teach you. Hey,
yeah,
we'll have to jump on. I'll teach you. But my man, the biggest thing about meditation is there's no right or wrong. This is why most people fuck it up, is because they think it should be some certain way. Yeah. Okay. The moment you have an expectation around, I shouldn't be thinking about these thoughts, I shouldn't be focusing on something. I can tell you now, if you're not thinking thoughts, you're dead. So you got to, dude, the way I look at it is that meditation has this weird belief or this weird stigma where it's like you need to focus on your breath, and if you focus on something apart from that, you're doing it wrong. But the reality is, dude, that I have meditations. I even had one like yesterday where I sat down for 15 minutes and I really thought about it. I was thinking about shit that happened when I was 8 years old. I come out of the meditation and I'm like, what just happened? Now I sit down and I'm like, if I teach this stuff, dude, and I have been meditating for years and years and years, I'm not a monk, don't get me wrong, but if I have meditations where I'm like thinking about random shit, it's like, of course, people, when they first start, they're going to have these thoughts. It's like, I look at, dude, meditation and the brain like a muscle, okay? Yeah. And this is how I really think about meditation, is that if you're meditating and you're focusing on your breath, right? Or if you do like a mantra, it's like Vedic meditation is the one I do, but it's the same principle. It's like you focus on either the breath or like a word that you say, okay? So it's the same principle. I look at it, dude, one way that I really help myself get through meditations is that I think about, if I think of a thought and then I pull myself back in and I'm like, oh, okay, Jesus, I'm thinking about fucking something that happened. I got rejected by a girl when I was fucking 5, or all this shit that comes up. Who knows? All right, some random shit.
Yeah.
I think about that. The moment that I bring it back to my breath, I look at it like a rep. It's like you're in the gym. Let's say you're doing a bicep curl. Yeah. When your mind wanders, I look at that like like when you flex. And then when you bring it back, I look at that like an extension. So if that's true, then I'm like, the meditations that I have when I think about all these random things, those are the best workouts because I've worked my muscle the most. Okay. So I think the big thing is not to have an expectation around it and not beat yourself up when you think about things, because it's just naturally human to want to think about stuff. And it's like the first time you go to the gym, you went to the gym, you probably had no freaking idea what you're doing. Same as meditation. You get better at it. You get better at visualization. You get better with meditation. So I think the first thing is probably find an app. I mean, and dude, like I've got guided ones that I send clients, prospects and stuff like that. So, if any of the listeners want meditations, I've got some that like guided ones that really help take away the stress of being like, oh, I can't meditate. It's just like anyone can meditate. It's just like building the habits and the skill around it.
Yeah, there's so many different versions as well.
So many, dude. So many. Yeah. So many.
It's like people just fucking make up random shit.
Absolutely. It's so true, dude. Yeah, so many different ones. That's why I'm like, just try all different ones. I do different ones. I don't listen to my own because I'm not that egotistical, and I hate my own voice. So rest assured, surprisingly enough. But yeah, man, just find, this is the thing, play around with it. Find one online. Go to YouTube. Do one of mine. Find someone who you enjoy listening to, because nothing's worse than sitting there for 15 minutes and hearing someone's voice who annoys the shit out of you. Let's be honest.
So people come to you for personal development. What do you do for your own personal development?
It's a good question, dude. So I always do, and especially right now in COVID, my goals have really changed where, I am learning a lot more right now because I'm stuck inside. So this is the big thing about me, dude. I'm like, I always try and grow at a rate where, this is why my client retention's so strong, because I'm always growing and I'm always learning. So it's a no-brainer for my clients to just like, well, I'm making myself more valuable. They're going to stay on. All right. But dude, what I do for personal development, I read a lot of books. I have the intention of reading, a book per week. Okay. Now I don't hit that every single week, I must say. But I always try and read for, half an hour per day. All right. And outside of that, I have mentors, I have coaches. And it's funny, dude, I'm a coach and I have a coach. And it's like all the good, phenomenal coaches, athletes have coaches. So what do I do for personal development? I find people who have done what I want to do and I invest in them.
Yeah.
Or at least have a skill set that I want to adapt and I invest. It's like I'm doing a course right now with a guy called Jim Quick, who's like a memory. You've heard of him? Yeah. So I'm doing his course right now, which is like a 12-week memory course. So I'm always just learning different things, dude. Keeps me sharp, keeps me on top of my game, and just it helps me feel confident, dude. When I'm learning and when I'm growing, I feel epic.
Yeah. You got to let me know how Jim Quick goes. I'm very interested in him and what he does. I got his book, actually. I got to read it.
The Limitless one, is it Limitless?
Yeah, his new one, yeah.
The course is going epic right now. I'm only one module in, so I started it last week. So I get the next module this week. So, man, it's pretty cool.
So, do you do a lot of online courses?
Not particularly heaps of online courses. I more talk to a lot of mentors and stuff right now, but I do. My main source of personal development is books.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, dude, I'm like, fuck, if I can read someone's book who's put all of their life's work, probably 30, 40 years of work, into a book that I can consume in 1 week, what an investment that is. I think about it, dude. Like, I'm writing a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write one soon, but then I'll write another one when I'm like 30, another one when I'm 40, who knows? But I'm like, if I could put everything I've learned in a book, it would save someone ridiculous amounts of time, ridiculous amounts of money, and it would help them structure their life in accordingly with their goals. So I'm big on personal development, dude. I'm big on like making yourself 1% better every day. Yeah. Finding something that you can learning something new every day, and just making yourself more valuable every day.
So you mentioned you want to do traveling. Have you done much traveling?
I've been to Bali a few times. My big intention was actually at the end of this year to go over to the UK. I was going to do some traveling over there, but that's sort of been nipped in the bud. But dude, I'll travel within the next, whenever the gates open back up, I'll do some planning and do some travel. Right now, dude, I'm like, if I can only focus on growing a business, growing myself, and really helping clients, that's what I'm really focused on. But obviously, when I hear I have got a trip booked for Bali in like February, like late Feb, early March next year. So hopefully the gates open up for that. And then I'll definitely plan some more travel in 2021.
Do you have a partner at all? Or?
No, I don't, dude. Single. All the ladies.
Just you and your dogs.
Just me and the dogs. Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to be like
that. Yeah, I mean, it has its pros and cons. I mean, a partner and some feminine energy and just someone who I could cuddle at night would be great right now. But dude, that's the thing. I'm like, there's not much I can do about it right now. I'll definitely be in a relationship very shortly, but I think the big thing is that I'm happy with myself as well.
Yeah.
I'm happy being alone, but look, obviously I don't want to grow an empire alone, and I want to have someone who drives me, and I want to, have someone who I can build a beautiful family with and stuff like that. But I'm like, right now, dude, I'm happy. I'm okay with being with myself and with my business and the dogs who keep me company. And right now I don't really have a choice because I can't go outside much.
Do you feel pressure to, start a family like that? Like so many people, like once they hit their 20s, like, oh shit, I got to do all this, start a family, get married.
Dude, I don't feel any pressure at all. I definitely want a relationship soon. That's why I'm ready for one, and I'll get into one very shortly. But right now, dude, I don't feel any pressure. I don't really feel any pressure. I just know it'll happen at the right time.
Yeah, I don't know why so many people, like, society kind of tells them they have to do all this shit.
Society, dude. Yeah, totally. It's like, if I don't have a kid by this age, like I've done something wrong. If I don't have a certain amount of money by this time, I've done something wrong. If I don't travel here, I'm not worthy. I'm like, fuck, dude, like it'll all happen. It'll all unfold if you just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And dude, again, it comes back to that comparing yourself to others, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Like, why? Yeah. Like if someone has a kid when they're 23, fucking epic. Someone has a kid when they're 18 and they're happy as shit. I'm like, oh, good for you. Someone has their first child when they're 35. I'm like, pumped for you. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Everyone's on their own path and journey.
Yeah, definitely.
So besides Gary Vee, who do you look up to or who inspires you?
Okay. So Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Definitely. Has to be Conor. Dude, I love Conor McGregor. If the podcasters could see my vision board, which is behind me, like Conor McGregor's on it. For a few reasons, dude. I'm like, he had nothing. And he built himself into this epic person, dude. And we're all about personal brand, right? Gary Vee. You look at Conor McGregor. What did he do? He built a personal brand, crushed it in the UFC, and then leveraged whiskey off it, amongst other things. Now he's just got he wouldn't have to work another day in his life. Now, I look at that dude and I'm like, that is so inspiring to me. I can remember, dude, the first time I seen Conor McGregor. I remember the first time I was at my dead end job, and I fucking seen this egotistical maniac fight and just knock the shit out of someone. And I'm like, dude, that's like, who is this guy? I heard the interview, and I'm like, oh fuck, who's this Irish guy who's just like ripping people, knocking people out? And dude, I took huge inspiration from it. Seeing where he come from, I'm like, fuck, it's like exactly where I am right now. Now, he was like 23 at the time, and I'm like, I was 21 at the time, and I'm like, fuck, I'm actually younger than him. Maybe I could do that as well. Now, not fighting, but I'm like, what if I found my craft and I mastered it? What if I found what I'm epic at and I mastered it? So him, dude, like, he's just a huge, huge inspiration to me. Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
In all aspects, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, his physique, he's in phenomenal shape. Just ask him. You know, his relationship, he's got a family, definitely his wealth, dude. Like, Jesus, look at who's created, but just his legacy that he's leaving behind, dude.
Who else besides them two?
Oh, dude. So Conor McGregor, Gary Vee. To be honest, dude, right now, Kevin Hart's a big person who I'm looking up to right now. I actually watched a documentary on him on Netflix. I don't know if
I think I watched that as well. Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, you know, I don't watch my Netflix, but I sat down. I'm actually watching another episode tonight. I'm like, you know, what he's done to build where he is now, dude. And just the work rate on him, dude. Like, fuck, man, geez, he's working his face off. Now, I'm all about, dude. I'm all about, like, yeah, work hard, but it's like the balance between working hard and also like building an epic life. And, you know, seeing what he's created, dude, it's a big inspiration. But apart from that, dude, like, who else do I really look up to? You know, those are the real standouts, dude. Those two are like the main people who I really consume and watch. There's actually one other person, dude, who you'll love as well if you haven't watched some of his stuff already. It was called Ryan Serhant.
Okay, I haven't heard of him.
He's so he's like the number one real estate broker in New York. Now that's just like, it's like, why would that be important? But dude, he's built like this vlog. It's like he built this vlog around real estate. Now he has like a TV show around it. Now he does like his books and stuff like that. And dude, like, you'll love if you do vlogging, because one of my visions is to do some vlogging and stuff like that as well. His dude is like next level. So dude, this is the thing. I'm like, that's my form of entertainment. Yeah. I don't really watch much TV. I don't really watch much, like, just fucking shit on TV. My form of entertainment is like sitting down, watching someone's vlog, getting some information, getting inspiration on YouTube, looking at people's vlogs, what they do daily and shit like that. Like, I feel like this is the thing, dude. I think, like, and I think another thing, like, that, go back to that question that you asked before, is like, what makes me different is that my form of education to me is like entertainment. I get thrilled when I'm learning stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you make that swap from, I'm going to consume all this entertainment, you switch that to education, I feel like that's when you can really separate yourself from just everyday mediocrity.
Yeah, like, I'm kind of the same. I don't remember the last time I really watched TV, besides if I'm watching sport. But yeah. I watch vlogs and that.
Ryan Serhant. Right, you have to look into Ryan Serhant.
I will. Yeah, because I watch a lot of vlogs and that as well.
You'll like his. It's very, very well structured.
Yeah. So what are your hobbies?
My hobby. So I actually enjoy walking a lot, dude. As boring as that sounds, I fucking love walking.
I love it as well, man. So good for the mental clarity.
Cleansing, dude. I live here in Melbourne. I live out of the city about 15 minutes. And dude, like, literally like 5 minutes from me is like this park area that is like 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers. Now, dude, I just go there I don't want to say every day. I went there this morning, and I just shut off. I turn my phone off and I just walk the dogs and I just listen to nature. Like, that's a big, big hobby of mine, dude. I fucking love it. But other hobbies, dude, I cook a lot. So I love cooking. It's a form of art to me. Like, I'm all about, dude, like, I'm very artistic. I get it from my mum. Like, all the marketing and stuff that I do, dude, I do all my own posts. I do all my own structure. I do all my own promotional posters and stuff like that. Like, I love artistic stuff like that. So cooking for me is like a form.
What's your best dish?
My best dish is, it would be a pasta dish. What one? I reckon like a garlic herb, semi-dried tomato. I think like going down that route with the pasta would be like if you were to come over, dude, and you say, hey, cook me some, I'd be cooking pasta, dude. 100%.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, pasta.
Love me pasta.
So dude, like cooking's another one. I've actually got some new cookware coming tomorrow, which I'm fucking pumped about. Invested in like a nice Italian set. In lockdown, I'm like, well, if I'm going to be cooking every night, I'm going to be trying new dishes. I'm like, I'm buying all the tools. So bought some new some cookware, which is coming tomorrow, which I'm so excited about.
You should record that as well. You doing your cooking.
Someone actually told me. I actually had this. So I have this client from California. She actually told me. She's like, hey, you should start like your own little cooking thing. And I'm like, I fucking don't think so. Because some of the recipes, dude, I'm just like this. What's in the cupboard? Okay, throw that in. And then I get to the end, it's like these masterpiece. And they're like, oh, can you send me the recipe? And I'm like, I don't have one. I don't have a recipe. I just threw this in. But dude, it's actually funny. Yeah, a client did say to me, like, I should start putting recipes and stuff up like that. And I'm like, well, maybe one day. But so what are my other? So to get back to the question, like walking, cooking, I'm going to get back into golf when it starts back up. I love playing golf. I used to play state level golf as well, actually, before I got into football. Then sort of just I haven't really played it that much, but it's sort of like similar to walking, dude, where I'm like to get out, play golf and stuff like that. It's almost cleansing.
So what's your why for life?
What's my why? Dude, that's a very powerful question. So what's my why is that like really like what I want to leave behind, dude, is something that my grandchildren's children look back on and think, fuck, Tim really changed the game for, a lot of people. And he helped, build something that's going to last, like outlast the test of time. But a big part of my why, dude, and the reason why I do what I do is my family. Like, I just want to, dude, as I said, like, I went through a tough time when, dude, I'd hate to know how close I was to losing my life, because I look back on it, I'm like, fuck, I was in a bad way for a long time, doing bad things. And I look back on that and I'm like, my family, dude, could have just disowned me. They could have been like, fuck, like, just leave. You know what I mean? So I almost tore my family apart where, like, there was a real time when they could have just said, no, enough's enough. But, dad was just like, fucking, he just like pulled me in and just held me tight. And he's like, dude, like, we get it. You'll be fine. Like, just, you'll get through this, et cetera, et cetera. He's gravely concerned, obviously. But I look at that, then I get emotional talking about it now. I'm like, if it wasn't for them, I'd hate to know where I would be. So the why, dude, what really drives me is like, I want to give them everything that they give me, which was my fucking dream life. So I really want to give back to them, not even in just like monetary value, but I want to give them the fulfillment of seeing their son live a fucking happy life. I want to see the fulfillment in them when I have children. I want to see them, live the last years there. They've got they're only, 55, dad's like 58. They're young, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I want to help them in any way that I can and give them everything they've ever wanted, while seeing their son who, they would have been very concerned about at the time, just fucking crush it. That's what drives me, dude.
Yeah. You got a podcast. How's that going? You looking to take that anywhere or?
Dude, so the podcast for me was actually in the first lockdown when I decided to start that. Dude, to be honest, I haven't done one for a little while because it's really, it hasn't been a priority for me. And I'm all about, dude, I'm like, you should, you work hard, you stick to things that you say you're going to say. I just made a decision, dude, that I'm like, I've got different things in the pipeline that I guess are on top of the podcast right now, like my live events that I'm doing, my coaching that I'm doing. I'm booked out with clients and stuff like that, and I'm running and caring for clients. So podcast for me, dude, is something that I love doing. Is it something that I want to take like tremendously big? Not right now. I feel like it's an epic thing to be doing. It's a great game to be in, but do I have the passion to be able to stick to it? Not right now. And I'm okay with that, dude. This is the thing. I'm like, so many people beat themselves up when they're like, oh, like I should be doing this and I should be doing that. I'm okay to fucking miss out on doing a podcast for a little while because I've got all these other things going on. And I think this is where like entrepreneurs and like business owners get so caught up in like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. I'm okay with taking a fucking loss on the podcast for now. I'm like, will I get it back up and going? Maybe, but I'm not like dwelling on it. So the podcast was good fun. I'll go back to it at some stage. So yeah, man, that's probably it with that one.
Yeah, it's the good thing about it is you can always come back to it.
That's it, dude. It's always there. And that's the thing, dude. It's like, the episodes are always going to be there. You know what I mean? It's not like I've done an episode and then they stay around for, a few weeks and they're gone. It's like when people need the podcast, or I feel like it will be a good thing to take off. As you said, it's always there. So
where do you see yourself in the next few years? You got big goals or?
Oh, hopefully we're out of lockdown. But I mean, I guess, the next 3 years, I feel like I just really want to grow this business, dude. And I really want to, grow myself to a place where within the next 3 years, dude, I want to be, very, very financially independent. I want to be, talking on stages at events and stuff like that. My man, talking about my story at a big, big level. So my man, I guess the next 3 years, I see myself, probably finding a relationship, talking about starting a family, but most of all, dude, just building like my foundation to a point where it's just solid as shit to move forward, meaning financially, client base, testimonials, have a vlog as well, probably within the next 3 years, to be able to leverage off that and to be able to express myself through that. That's where I see myself in the next 3 years, dude. Where I'll be living, it's hard to say. Like if you want to go down that route, I feel like I'll be around Melbourne somewhere still, just because I love it here. But yeah, man, that's sort of where I expect to see myself in the next few years. We're talking on stages, working with, some higher profile people and really going down that route.
So when your time's up on this earth, what would you like to be remembered for?
That's a good one. What would I like to be remembered for? And I feel like that's a good question because it's like, it's something that I always keep in mind. I'm always like, dude, I'm very aware, and this is going to sound like, I don't want to get like really deep and like fucking dark on people, but I'm aware of death. I'm like, who knows? Like, dude, because I think it comes from like me losing the family friend. And also I had another friend who I was actually in business with. He lost his life very soon as well, which was tragic, but it is what it is. I look at that dude and I'm like, it's just so short. You know what I mean? Like, God bless that we're still here. Touch wood, we'll be here for a long time from now. But I'm like, if I left today or tomorrow, touch wood, if I did, I'd be like, what would I want to be remembered by? Want to be remembered by someone who just left nothing on the table. I want to be someone who just like spoke authentically, expressed himself authentically, and for people to come to my funeral and just be like, fuck, he did everything he could to just express all his potential and he helped people while doing so. That's sort of how I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered as dude, like the person who just left it all on the table and did it authentically.
What's your definition of success?
My definition of success is actually something that I go over with clients, dude. So my definition of success has been very clear on what you want and then just showing up towards that thing the best of your ability every single day. That's my definition. Clear on if you've got a family, how do you want to show up for them? If you've got a business, how do you want to show up every single day? If you've got a podcast, how do you want to show up every day? Like if I go to bed, dude, and I'm like, I've exhausted all my actions today. I've taken actions. I've done the best that I could with what I've got. That's success to me.
And lastly, what's a piece of advice you would give to someone, I guess, going through tough times with what's going on in the world right now?
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like, dude, if I could give one piece of advice, it would be to start trying to build a different vision to what you've got right now. It's so easy, dude, right now to get caught up in like the now. What pulls me through, dude, and what gets me through this is literally, dude, I'm visualizing right now. I'm like, I just can't wait to be in Bali. February, March, I'll look back on this time and think, Jesus, it was a crazy time, but I got through it. Yeah. So if I could give one person like any advice, it'd be like, look, whatever you're feeling, if you're stressed, overwhelmed, it's okay because most people are as well. There's nothing wrong with you. But I'll be thinking, okay, how can I start really focusing on something else, shift my focus to, maybe a year down the track. Not that you want to just like completely sweep it under the carpet and be like, fucking forget about it. But just try and focus on something different. That would be my advice right now. Start visualizing, start really shifting focus from what's fucking going on right now, which is so hard with all the news and shit like that. But if I give you one bit of advice, it would just be to start focusing on something that you actually want to create in your life, because it will give you inspiration.
Sweet. And for all the listeners, where's the best place to kind of find out more about yourself?
Yeah, epic, dude. So really my Instagram is like my main game, which is just Tim Speirs Coaching. Tim Speirs Coaching. I've got a website, which is timspeirscoaching.com, like www.timspeirscoaching.com. That has all my info about like programs, events, all that sort of stuff. But if you want to follow me somewhere, if you're interested in, following my content and what I do, Instagram would be the main place, or Facebook, but it just Tim Speirs. But I would say Instagram, we'd connect through there, and then that would be the best place to find me.
Sweet. Well, my man, thank you for coming on and giving me your time, mate. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, my man. Thanks for having me.
It's all good, man. It's been an awesome chat.
Cool, man.
Cheers.